Well, joining me in the studio are the news analyst Joseph Danquah and Susan Fajana-Thomas. Thank you very much indeed for coming in. A soldier shot dead, violent clashes last night, journalists being kept out of parts of Bujumbura, the situation apparently deteriorating. Do you think it's getting more dangerous?
It is getting more dangerous, and it's sad that an individual ambition is causing this. 20 people's already lost their life, and it is people behaving badly or African leaders behaving badly. This is an individual who's been there for 2 terms. So what is the big deal for him to step down to let somebody carry on with the work? It's so sad that this is happening to him because he actually worked very hard in the last 10 years, and he had made significant contributions to that country. But I'm hoping with this he's not going to destroy that legacy.
But is there any plausibility to his arguments, though, that according to the Constitution he would needed to have been elected? He was appointed by Parliament as a president, and therefore that he has the right to run for elective office again?
Well, the argument says that the election within Parliament was actually an election. Those proponents for the 2-term argument say that election within the Parliament was an election in itself. You see, but then, you see, look, talking about individual ambitions or individual drive to maintain or keep power, this is what it is. He's putting his ambition for power ahead of what the people need. This is a country where 80% of the people live below the poverty line. 57% of children are malnutrition. It's the second poorest. Yeah, well, yes, malnourished. What do you call it? They're 50 years is their life expectancy in the country, and the country is doing badly. So you see, if you look at these indicators, these marks, you show this country needs a leadership which would take it forward. I think it's got to the end of the road, and therefore it should pack in.
And of course you would have thought that given the history of Burundi, which is quite close to that of Rwanda, and all the massacres and the civil war and so on, that he'd be doing the sort of thing that Joseph is talking about here.
He should be doing it, and again he's actually, rather than doing that, what he's actually trying to turn the table around, saying this is about ethnic dispute.
Right.
It wasn't ethnic dispute.
And that is one thing you want to stay away from in a volatile country like that. But just moving on, also what's not helping Joseph is the fact that the army and the police have a rather tense relationship. The police apparently resenting the army's tolerant attitude towards the protests. Do you think that is making things worse?
Yes, you see, the army now, previously was controlled by the Tutsis, but with the 2005 peace agreement in Arusha, there was one of the cardinal points was that the army should be based upon ethnic group divide, 50%. So therefore now there's a divide in the army, some supporting the president, some not supporting the president, and this is going to bring a lot of friction between those two parties. But looking at it, what is needed now is that the country needs to go forward. You see, because Nkurunziza has been disingenuous. He's been very wrong in this thing, because the country is going to affect countries within that sub-region, like Rwanda, to Tanzania,
yes,
and DR Congo.
Well, certainly one way that it is affecting it is the number of refugees. I mean, there are people camped along Lake Tanganyika. At last count, over 100,000. The boat is only able to take about 2,000 people across every day. So you've got a humanitarian crisis. Do you think that people are running because they believe things are going to get worse?
People are running because they believe things are going to get worse. Probably because many people witnessed what happened in the past in that country. They don't want to expose themselves to what happened in the past. They don't want to be in the country.
Yes.
If there are
nobody can blame them. And of course, while all this is going on, Joseph, the president plays his daily game of football and carries on, regardless, with his plans for a sort of 3rd term. Do you get the sense that he's listening to the protesters and to the rest of the world?
No, he's taking the man whose father died during the genocide of 1972, who was a governor. And he should learn that his family also suffered during such crisis. So he should look at what he's doing and realize that, no, the country is sinking and it's going to sink further if he does not leave the scene.
Okay, Joseph and Susan, for the moment, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.